Hi everyone, welcome to yet another unboxing and pre-assembly review video. This time we are going to tackle the Bandai Real Grade 1 to 144 scale Sinanju. Now this is a mobile suit from the Gundam Unicorn anime series, and it is a mobile suit piloted by the main antagonist from that series called Full Frontal. So let's have a look at the box art. The side is a close-up view of the Sinanju's head. This is the 22nd kit from Bandai's Real Grade line. These are some detailed close-ups of the Sinanju after it has been assembled, as well as its inner framework. If I'm not mistaken, this is a picture of a Sinanju that is unpainted after it has been assembled. Now on the other side of the box art, we have various poses of the Real Grade Sinanju wielding its weapons, as well in a standing pose as well as in a dynamic pose. So that then is the side box art that you can see from the outside of the Real Grade Sinanju box. So now let's see what's inside the box. It's a bigger than usual box from the Real Grade line, and so there's a lot of bags of sprues inside this kit. So let's begin by taking a quick look at what comes with this Real Grade Sinanju. We start off with the first bag that contains the sticker and some black and grey sprues. That's bag one. The second bag is the gold pieces. Looks very nice, glossy and shiny. The third bag, we have some orange and grey parts. In the fourth bag, we have some shiny metallic molded colors. I assume these are parts for the rocket veneers or thrusters. We'll see more in detail later. The fifth bag has some clear yellow parts. I think these are the effect parts for the beam sabers and such. On the sixth bag, we have multicolored sprue as well as a advanced MS joint sprue. On the seventh bag, we have the fantastic looking glossy red parts. This would, I presume, will be for the outer armor. In the eighth bag, we have more red sprues, which seem to be a bit darker this time, as well as some grey parts. So now let's take a look at the instruction book. The front cover is a close-up of the Sinanju's head. As I say, it's a 22nd kit in the Real Grade line. So the first few pages are how-tos in scale modeling, as well as some sprues that were included in the box. Assembly starts with the Sinanju's leg unit. It seems a bit complicated. From the leg units, we move on to the waist unit. A lot of complex mechanisms involved. Following that, we move on to the arm unit assembly instructions, and then on to the body unit. There are also some colored photos. Here is about the thrusters that the Sinanju spots on its body. The assembly goes on to the head unit and the backpack unit, mainly in black and white, the instructions. Then it goes on, I think, finally to the weapons. And here we see a close-up of all the weapons as well as some story on them, I guess. It's all in a Japanese language. Finally, the assembly ends with the fixing of the Sinanju onto a base. And the back pages show the Sinanju in the location of the decals to be placed on the Sinanju, as well as a color chart if you were to paint the Sinanju. So that's the instructions that came with the kit. Now let's just put everything back into the box. Going forward, I'll be partly painting some of the parts, whereas some I will leave as is, as a straight out of the box build. More details on this later when we have a closer and detailed look at all the sprues that came with the box. Following this quick glance at what came in the box, I'm going to have a closer inspection of the quality and the finishes on the molded plastic parts and give a short review on them. That's it for this quick unboxing. Now let's move on to a closer and detailed look at the sprues and runners that came with the Real Grade Sinanju model kit. Now then, we are going to have a closer detailed look at all the runners and sprues that came with this plastic model kit. We will begin our inspection and pre-assembly review by looking at runner or Sprue A. Now this is a multicolored sprue. It contains sort of a dark grey, white as well as a clear green part. The dark grey parts contain parts for the weapons as well as some miscellaneous parts for the Sinanju's body, while the clear green part is for the mono eye, and the white parts are for its rocket boosters as well as miscellaneous parts for its backpack. So that then is a runner or Sprue A. Now let's move on to Sprue B. This is the advanced MS joint sprue. It contains pre-assembled parts that are quite complicated in its mechanisms. A complaint from scale modelers has been the weakness that these parts give to the inner frame, but we'll have more on this during the assembly stage. So now this is Sprue C. This is the first of the red parts in a darker shade of red. It's for some parts of the body armor as well as the shield and the head and the waist, as well as some of the side rocket thrusters, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the darker red sprue, Sprue C. Now let's move on to Sprue D. Sprue D contains the brighter red parts. There is two identical Sprue Ds. This contains armor for the body as well as for the rocket verniers or rocket thrusters. This red comes in a very nice glossy finish, and from this basic glance at the finish in this plastic molded part, I don't think I'm going to repaint it. Rather, I'm just going to use the red armor parts as is and paint some of the other parts instead. So now let's move on to Sprue E. Sprue E is a dark greyish kind of color, and it has parts mostly for the inner frame of the Sinanju, as well as some of the parts of the rocket thrusters or verniers. Of course, there's more to this grey parts, as in they also form other parts of the Sinanju. Now we move on to Sprue E2. Sprue E2 contains more of these dark grey parts. And Sprue E2 is basically just a section of Sprue E1, as you can see here, minus bits for, I suppose, the neck region or the body armor parts of the Sinanju. So that is Sprue E2. Now we will move on to Sprue F1. F1 contains a slightly lighter grey hue to it. Now this contains the inner frames, the joints, the hands, as well as some parts for the weapons. So this is Sprue F1. Now the following Sprue F2 is just a section of the earlier sprue that you saw, Sprue F1, containing parts mainly for the joints and weapons for the Sinanju. So as you can see, Sprue F2 is just a part of the bigger Sprue F1. So that then is Sprue F2. So let's move on now to Sprue G, which contains the black parts that will align the Sinanju's shield, parts of its body, and parts of its waist and the rest of its body armor. So that is the black glossy parts of Sprue G. So now moving on to the next sprues, we'll be taking a look at Sprue I, two identical Sprue I's, which are molded in a very bright metallic silver kind of color, close to a chrome-like finish, but more to the silver side. So these are parts of the inner framework as well as the rocket verniers or thrusters. These parts I will most likely paint into a brighter chrome finish. Now we move on to Sprue H1, which is a very uniquely molded sprue. It comes with this gold-plated finish. It looks good as is, so it is unlikely I will repaint Sprue H1, and I will use the superb gold finish that is already molded into the parts. These are parts for the body as well as the shield and other linings on its body armor. So that is the gold finish parts of Sprue H1. Then we have Sprue H2, which are these orangey parts for the vents on the Sinanju suit. Now these I will likely repaint in a slightly dull gold finish because the orange here looks very plasticky. The other parts that I'll be painting are more the dark grey or black parts, which I'll repaint into a metallic color. Now here we have the clear parts, Sprue J. These are the effect parts for the Sinanju's beam sabers and heat sabers, which can also incidentally be attached to the shield, which I guess we will see later on in the assembly video. Finally, we have the stickers that were provided by the kit. These are mainly foil stickers as well as the normal sticker decals. Now, the foil stickers I will very likely use, but as for the sticker decals, I will most likely replace this with Bandai's specialized water decals that are sold separately for the real grade Sinanju model kit. So this then has been a detailed up close look at all the parts that were included in this real grade Sinanju plastic model kit. And as I place all the parts back into the box, I'll just briefly recap what I plan to do with this kit going forward. Most of the outer pieces, especially the reds, the blacks, and that superb gold finish, I will likely leave as is and use it as a straight out of the box build. Meanwhile, parts such as this grey one that I just placed and the silver metallic parts and this dark greyish parts all will be repainted in a metallic iron finish. And now these red parts that I'm placing here all will be left as is. It will be a combination build of partly painted and partly left as in its original form. So in addition to that, I will most likely panel line the kit as well. So this then has been a unboxing pre-assembly review of the Bandai 1:144 scale real grade Sinanju. I hope you have found this video informative, and if you liked it, please do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.